Parties parting down at their camps, ravers raging at the rage that parties conspire to develop to win in another bloodless coup of preferential votes, listing choices not adhered to, but tick nonetheless, counting on symbols of life in pictures that still remain in black and white.
There are only 2 islands in Fiji who does wood carving. I've heard something that the people of these 2 islands, they come from islands in the South Pacific which they do the carving. So our great grandfather came from islands in the Pacific like the Solomon, Samoa and Tonga. I had a story about, and it's an old story about, there's a place in Fiji where it's an old story, and it's a long story where people staying in the mountains, they are not the real human beings, they are like devil or what. Sometimes they come out to the sea and look for food. And they only come at night time. Before the daylight, they have to go back. That's the only time they used to come and look for food. They come from the mountains, they come down to the sea and they look for food and take all their food back to the mountain before the daylight. Because this is in the old story and not much people in Fiji still know the story. Maybe they are not interested, and I think we don't have much books or story books, somebody who writes all these kinds of stories.
टिकाऊ ने राष्ट्रपति के दफ्तर ने जिस तरह से विरोधी नेता की नियुक्ति की है उसकी आलोचना की है। प्रतिपेल ने बताया कि उनको कल शाम इस नियुक्ति की औपचारिक जानकारी दी गई, जो कि नियुक्ति के 5 दिनों बाद आई है। प्रतिपेल ने कहा कि ये एक संवैधानिक पद है और उनकी समझ में उनको नियुक्ति।
Well, my great grandfather and my grandfather came to Fiji as during the Indenture era as one of those girmitiers who were brought to Fiji to work on the cane fields here. In that time, I guess he must have met my grandmother, gotten married, and decided he was going to settle here in Fiji. And thereon, I guess, you know, the families have just continued to do their thing. Some remained kept on farming, continue to farm today. Most have sort of gone on to the professions to be doctors, lawyers, teachers, things like that. So But you know, in food, you know, the South Indians make avel. You know avel? I love avel. I consider myself an Indo-Fijian. I mean, the Indo side of me and the Fijian side of me is just as important. My forefathers have done far more than enough to contribute to the development of this place. In fact, you know, I very strongly believe that, you know, if it wasn't for what my ancestors did, this country wouldn't be what it is today. But then on the other hand, the Fijian side of me, the side, you know, which has come about because of the decision that was made by my ancestors to sort of just to stay on in Fiji rather than to leave the country is as important. And when I talk about my Fijian heritage, I'm talking about my heritage, which includes my life together with the lives of Fijian persons, Chinese persons, and other, you know, European persons who've made that decision to stay on in this country and make this country their homes.
सर्वप्रथम मेरे पिताजी 1927 में फिजी आए थे। उस टाइम CSR कंपनी मजदूर के रूप में उनको पंजाब से लाया था और फिर वो काफ़ी दिन उनके साथ काम किए। फिर बाद में CSR कंपनी ने उसको 10 एकड़ ब्लॉक यहाँ पे सांबेतो में दिया। उसमें वो काम करते थे। हम लोग बचपन में स्कूल पढ़े, बाद में स्कूल छोड़ने के बाद हम लोग भी यही में खेती में जुड़ गए। फ़िलहाल इस ज़मीन का लीज का अंतिम समय आ गया है और इस दिसंबर को इसका एक्सपायरी डेट है और उन्होंने हमें नोटिस दे दिया है। फ़िलहाल ज़मीन मालिक से बात कर रहा हूँ, वो राज़ी है देने में। केवल इसमें 2 मतंगाली का ज़मीन है। ये जो मतंगाली हम लोग बोलते हैं फिजी में, ये ज़मीन मालिक होते हैं जिनका ज़मीन होता है। हम लोग हिंदुस्तानी उनका ज़मीन लीज करते हैं। वो लोग जैसे दो मतंगाली है, एक तो राज़ी है देने का, उसका कुछ कम ज़मीन है, दूसरे का कुछ उसी हिस्से में ज़्यादा है, तो वो आपस में कुछ बातचीत कर रहे हैं। फ़िलहाल मैंने कहा कि आप लोग दोनों आपस में बातचीत करके कोई फैसले पे आ जाओ। मैं जब से पैदा हुआ हूँ, मेरी उम्र अभी 57 ईयर्स की है, तब से मैं यहीं पे हूँ। ये अभी 2-3 महीने से बातचीत चल रहा है। मैं तो ज़मीन लेना चाहता हूँ, तब अब इनके ऊपर है। अगर देना चाहे तो राइट है, नहीं देना चाहे तो उनकी चीज़ है, कोई जोर भी नहीं है ना। फिलहाल अभी तो मैं ये कंपनी में, यही FSC कंपनी में गाड़ी भर रहा हूँ, कैजुअल लेबर की तरह। हिंदुस्तानियों का हालत बहुत बुरा है। फिलहाल लोगों का घर, ज़मीन जा रही है, लोगों के घर जा रहे हैं, उनके आगे उनके बच्चों का कोई भविष्य नहीं है। हमारे बच्चों का कोई कहीं पे काम नहीं है, काम धंधा नहीं है। बेकार ही है। पढ़े लिखे लड़के रास्ते रास्ते घूम रहे हैं। जब तुम्हारा असली ज़मीन चली गई, आपके घर उखड़ गया, अभी जिस तरह का फीजी में चीज़ों का दाम है, 10,000 में घर नहीं बन सकता, फिर आपको दूसरा ज़मीन खुद खरीदना पड़ेगा। आप पेड़ लगाए बगीचे छोड़ के कहाँ जाओगे?
My land starts from that house there, the mandir, right at the back, the one that has been harvested, coming down. The boundary is the road that goes toward the house there, on the other side. On the other side, it's almost 7 to 8 acres, plus this side, and altogether it comes to 10 acres. At this point in time, as my first year as a farmer, I don't have any experience in right now. Actually, the cane was planted by the previous tenant that was an Indian tenant. He used to be there for the last, I think it's 100 years or so now. So after 100 years, then I received my land. The Native Land Trust Board came over one day and advised us that the altar lease is just about to be expired. It's run about in 5 years' time. So what do you decide? Do you decide to take the land with you and farm the land, or you decide to give it back to the tenants? So we had a meeting for the whole family, and we decided to, because there's a lot of family, so we decided to get the land so we can divide it among us. So I decided to have a go in farming. They gave me 10 acres of land, and this is my first year as a cane farmer. At the moment, the only thing we are doing that in the village right now is encouraging all our Fijian brothers here in the village to plant sugarcane. From this side of the village, we are having around about 32 farmers right now. New cane growers. Yes. So, all harvesting cane these days. Yes. But the production is low this year. Yes. Actually, the mills usually advise the farmers to cut their cane before the month of September. So the gang had already cut 3 loads of canes already. The only thing left is I have to find a truck to load the canes for the mill. But I'm not sure about today. Truck's supposed to be coming at 2 p.m. But it's not confirmed at the moment. It depends to the weather.
So many people have asked, what's wrong in Fiji? What is the real situation? I feel it is crucial that we all try to understand the situation. It is crucial that we understand that understanding is crucial to the situation.
In our province, in Itasir province, only I think only one village. Only this village got that kind of toilet and bathroom. Only this village. So the other village, they did not use like this kind of toilet. So there's a new project in this province. We want the new government to build rural areas like this village, to come down and build our life to to going up like the urban development. Because the land is the main issue. We can plant and all the things come in the lands. If you want money, come in the lands. If you want everything you want, and come in there. So if a new government can develop the land, Fiji will go up, stand up like India, like America. So we want to, the economy, to develop the economy in Fiji. If you want to change one country, only the thing you change their culture. So that's they do in Fiji. They want to change our culture. So Fiji, they look only this boy like this, like that, going to town, see that, see that, see that. They live their own culture and take that culture. That's why Fiji is going down now.
When the British came to Fiji, like in every other country they colonized, they picked out a group of elitist Fijians, so propped up certain chiefs and helped develop their provinces and sort of educated them to hold administrative power. There's a bit of resentment at the moment in the Fijian community about this this division where certain provinces are better developed than other provinces. There's this perception amongst Fijians that Indians are rich. Europeans have never been seen in Fiji in that light, European businessmen who have garment factories and things, who run certain businesses and exploit the workers like nobody else, Fijians would never complain about that. When we drive along these streets, for instance, there are a lot of, the most of the shops are owned by Indians. But these are, small shops, drapery shops, small shoe shops. These shop owners are not rich. They're, if you speak to the auditors, they will tell, if they have audited accounts, you'll be told that they make maybe $10,000–$15,000 profit in a year, and that doesn't make for a rich Indian person. And there's a bit of a resentment that, hang on, we are not all rich. There's only a certain class of Indians who are rich. Not every Indian person who's involved in the sugar industry is a farmer as such. You have your cane cutters who are poorest of poor people in the country.
पहले तो हम लोग वहाँ पे दूसरा जगह पे रहता रहा, तो मैंने हम लोग के गन्ना खेती रहा, सब कुछ रहा। अब तो यहाँ जाना कुछ नहीं है उनके पास। हम लोग तो वहाँ पर 25 साल से, मेरे शादी के बाद हम लोग वहाँ रहते थे। तब फिर जब ज़मीन एक्सपायर हो गई तब फिर हम लोग आके यहाँ अपन पड़ोसी घर पर रहते। लगभग 6 महीना हुआ रहा। उसके बाद में फिर हम लोग यहाँ ज़मीन इसके ले लिया, तब फिर यहाँ आया, 2 रूम के घर बनाया। मेरे हस्बैंड तो कारपेंटर, बट अभी काम नहीं मिला है तो काम नहीं करे। लगभग 2-3 साल से वो काम नहीं करे हैं। वो लोग तो बहुत अंधेर करे हिंदुस्तानी के साथ, क्या कि ज़मीन भी ले लिए है। कितना जन तो अभी छोटे छोटा घर बना के रहे हुए है, और कितना जन तो थोड़ा कुछ ज़मीन जब पैसा रहा तो अपन ज़मीन में ले लेने, घर बनाए भर के जगह ले लेने। सब ज़मीन पकड़ ले तो सब वैसे रहे। कभी तेल के ज़मीन जन ले लेना, कुछ बोए हुए नहीं है, सब वैसे पड़ा है। वो हिंदुस्तानी के नहीं देना चाहते हैं, इसलिए ऐसे करते हैं।
Taking sides is wrong. It is wrong to take sides. Wrong. The looting was wrong. The taking of hostages wrong. The raping was wrong, of mind and body and innocence. The demoralizing, manipulating, ridiculing was wrong. The power cuts, water cuts, pay cuts, budget cuts, wrong, wrong, wrong. The buying of new vehicles, wrong. The starving of the children, wrong. The shutting down of schools, wrong. The laying off of workers, wrong. The big song and dance that politicians are now making to fill their own pockets later, wrong, wrong, wrong. The colonial pricks got it wrong. Filling their pockets, fooling the natives, filling their pockets, wrong. Raping the Pacific, wrong. The land rape, cultural rape, identity rape, all wrong. Taking the land from the people, wrong. Abuse on the cane fields, wrong. The bureaucracy is wrong.
बच्चे आए पाठशाला से, बच्चे अगर घुराने लगे तो हमने सोचा कि क्यों घुराते हैं। हमने सोचा पाठशाला में कोई मर गया, तो हमने पूछा क्या हुआ। तो हमारे बच्चे ने घुरा कर कहा coup हुआ है। तुम नहीं सुने? तो हमारी बच्ची ने आकर कहा कि हम पर जब पाठशाला में थे तब कैवीती आकर घेर लिए। हमारी एक कैवीती फ्रेंड लड़कियाँ थी, उनके सहारे हम निकल कर यहाँ आए हैं। और कैवीती जो रहें पत्थर मारने लगे थे। बड़े मुश्किल में हम निकल कर आए हैं। तो उस दिन से हमारे बच्चे पाठशाला नहीं गए, उधम होने लगा वहाँ पर।
वो हुआ 1 हफ्ता, लगभग 3-4 रोज हम लोग 1 हफ्ता ले वहाँ रहा अपन ज़मीन में, कुछ नहीं प्रॉब्लम हुआ था। लेकिन अचानक से ऐसे 10 आदमी घर पे आके घेर लेते हैं। अभी तो गवर्नमेंट की सरकार तो भीतर बंद है, वहाँ पे कब्जा है, और इधर उधम होता है रोज के रोज। अचानक आके घेर लेते। एक दिन ऐसे हमारे गांव पड़ोसी में घेरा, हम लोग दौड़ाया तो हम तो सोचा ही रात भर हम लोग जंगल में थे। उस रात हम लोग जंगल में थे। सेकंड दिन बोला यहाँ रहेंगे, रात के कोई आगे घेर लिया, हमारे रकम बच्चे नौरत है, हम लोग का इज्जत है, हम लोग जमीन जगह नहीं काम दी, हम भाग आया। अब जाने की इरादा नहीं है, वही हम सोचता है कोई बोल से कोई जहाँ मिले अब यहाँ है टेंट में सुती, यहाँ टेंट में सुतता है तो अच्छा से नींद लग जाए, वहाँ घरे सो तो नींद नहीं लगे। अब लौट के जाना तो नहीं है, क्योंकि हम लोग के पास लड़के बच्चे हम लोग देख नहीं सकते हैं कि अत्याचार लड़कों के ऊपर है। यहाँ पे है हम लोग बस टेंट में रहे थे, 2-4 पेनी के बोले चीज़ बोए के खेत में थोड़ा कुछ बेच लेता है हम लोग यहाँ पे रास्ता किनारे, सरकार थोड़ा मौका दी सब बेचे के, बस ही कुछ चलता है। अब कुछ है नहीं आगे पीछे क्या, कहाँ जाइए हम लोग, किसके द्वारे जाइए। यहाँ बेच के 5-6 डला हो जाए, 7 डला प्रॉफिट हो जाता है, तो लड़कन के कुछ स्कूल जाए, मिठाई मांगे हैं दे देवा जाए, कुछ खाने के लिए लड़कन कुछ रहे तो दे देवा जाए, तो वही सब हम लोग चला लेते हैं।
यहाँ पे तो अच्छा है कि हम अच्छे से रहते हैं, सोते हैं, एक टाइम हम खाते हैं तो एक टाइम ना ही खाना मिलेगा तो भी हम रह लेंगे, लेकिन यहाँ पर तो नहीं कोई उधम करता है। बच्चों ठीक है, घर के बारे में कभी काल पूछते हैं, सोचते हैं, वो जानते हैं क्योंकि उस दिन अपने आँखी से देखे थे हमारे बच्चे जो कुछ हुआ था।
संसद के स्पीकर पहले नारायण ने राष्ट्रपति के दफ्तर में जिस तरह से विरोधी नेता की नियुक्ति की है उसकी आलोचना की है।
Wasn't really much of a difference between the 87 coup and the 2000 coup. Both times the indigenous cause was what they said was the reason for the coup, to uphold indigenous rights. 87, the Prime Minister for 17 years since independence lost in the elections. 2000, the Prime Minister, the political party that was in place for 10 years lost power. In both instances, there were indigenous governments that were in place that lost power, and some say that the reasons behind the coup was that governments that came in place were going to bring into open all the corruption that had taken place in the time of these political parties' reign in power. And then other people sort of say it was basically just to uphold indigenous paramountcy in the country. The ethnic question becomes a bigger issue when you look at it from a national level. We didn't want Indians to sort of take over the country, and that our chiefs have to be protected. But then at the ground level, the ethnic question is not that big an issue. It's just what politicians really tend to make of it.
The 1987 one, looking back at it now, it was, I think, I allowed myself to be manipulated by the politicians at the time, and perhaps the same happened last year. Whereas in my case, I deliberately set out to do it after the politicians had given me their views about the political situation. Last year was too much of an unorganized and very disorganized coup with no real planning, and the result is that we had to keep hostages for 56 days, and the bloodshed, which was very unfortunate. And also they didn't have any real plans of what to do after if they were successful in crippling the government. What they had after that, they were very, very hazy about. So those are probably the two major differences. While the 87 was a clinical operation, both unjustified, both legally probably non-defensible and both unconstitutional. But the main difference was the organization of 87 and the disorganization of 2000. Oh, sama suka terus sudah bagaimana? Coffee suka, tea, all coffee with sugar or without sugar. All with sugar. If you want without sugar, we can make coffee without sugar.
I always ask for, when I go to my Indian friends, I ask for masala chap, always. There is no point in trying to eliminate the differences, because we cannot. Perhaps more effort should be at accepting that we are going to be different, but using the strength in the two major communities in Fiji for the national good. And by that I mean getting the communal people, the communal indigenous people, make available their communally owned resources for the individualistic Indian community, as long as they have a better return. And encourage the indigenous people to work harder at whatever they're good at. As Mao Zedong had said, you know, give a man a fish, you fed him for the day. Teach him to fish, you fed him for the rest of his life. I think it was Sun Tzu who said that, not Mao Zedong. And that's probably the way we should be looking at the Fijians, rather than giving them an outboard model and a boat. Teach them how to build an outboard, teach him how to build a boat, and show him how he can use that boat to buy an outboard motor, and use it to buy new ones every 3 years or 4 years or 5 years, whatever the lifespan of those assets are. And also to try and get rid of the things that make us feel our differences. And work toward genuine reconciliation. But before you can work toward genuine reconciliation, you have to have a genuine attempt to sacrifice or to forget or even withhold our individual prejudices.
There's this perception that Pacific Island societies have always been passive, thus the name Pacific, and which is not true in Fiji. We've always been warring. We're a warring society. And different chiefs would be paramount at different times depending on their might in war. So a rivalry has always existed. The questions of ethnicity, of race, have been there all along. Last year was just one opportunity to bring it out in the open, and it's gone back into hiding again. In 1987, because I was much younger, of course, and I was in the fourth form, which is an examination year, I was actually very excited about it because I didn't quite understand what was going on. I was also a little worried, but worried because of the exams rather than anything else. As for last year, I was a teacher, teaching young women who were going to do exams, and I had to cope with their fears, which were things like, what are we going to do next year? Is it worth coming to school? And I don't want to go home. It's not very nice. So there was a different feeling. There was more worry. Not so much for myself, but for others. So I think that's the great difference. It depends on age, I think. Just talking with my students, because they're the people I have the greatest contact with, there's such a variety of opinion on the coup, and a lot of people have said it had to do with economics, it had to do with one group of people wanting economic power and who chose to get it through a so-called political means. Last year it was necessary for us to have a debriefing within the school. But I think fear was the greatest thing. It was in fact a common denominator, fear for what they were going to do this year, what where their life was going to go, that type of fear. I think the fears that it raised were not so much to do with ethnicity, but more with economics. Because the effects of the coups were things like unemployment. And people worried, where am I going to get the money to pay for the food for our house, let alone the school fees? So that's really where it came from. In terms of ethnicity, there was worry there, of course, but I think to those who were not Indo-Fijian, it wasn't such a big worry because you were not Indo-Fijian. To those who were Indo-Fijian, it was a worry because it was like it's this whole us and them type thing that happened. I think that we have not put as much thought into reconciliation as we should. It's a word that we brand around for branding's sake. We're still trying to reconcile, so to speak, from 1987. We're certainly not going to get anywhere for last year. A great number of people don't quite understand what reconciliation. I don't quite understand what reconciliation is, but I think it has more to do with satisfying those who speak about reconciliation rather than satisfying those who are supposed to actually do the thing to reconcile. In terms of choices and opportunity, it's maybe taught them that you will have to look for it, and they've done that in some cases. They get on with their lives.
I was at a reconciliation workshop just recently, and one of the things that was really evident was that, you know, there's so many stereotypes that we use of, have of each other, yet it's never explained to us as to how we arrive at these stereotypes. And there's all these misconceptions we have of each other, and people have never taken the time to sort of say, hey, I think you Indians think this of me, is this true or is this not true? Individuals will basically have to, take that step to to work towards better understanding. Politicians aren't going to do it. They're going to talk about lack of funding and things to be able to reconcile people. It's going to be the community, the people themselves, the religious organizations, the NGOs who are going to have to sort of facilitate processes where individuals can come together, little groups can come together.
Well, I think that the reconciliation should start from the top. The leaders must first of all reconcile, and then it can trickle down to the people. There is genuine goodwill at the grassroots level. I think they have all had enough of the lawlessness, the disorder, the mayhem that we experienced in the last 17 months, and they'd like to put all this behind them and move forward, because they are the ones who are really suffering. So it is for the leaders to see this and to put aside their own agendas, their own ambitions, if you like.
I think racial issues here only surface during elections, and only when very sensitive issues are discussed. Apart from those short periods, there is tremendous goodwill and trust amongst the different communities in Fiji. You go out to rural areas, there's excellent relationship there between people of all communities. So race is not a critical problem in Fiji, because we are always able to overcome them, and our history has shown that we have always been able to come out of it and then take the country forward as a united society.
Oh, this is the boat, Crystal One. This boat was in New Zealand. So I got a partner who is a Russian, and he was doing his law degree in New Zealand. So I was lucky to call in as to be a partner with these people to fish, and we do lease agreement with them. And I'm looking forward for the next 10 years that I can own myself a boat. It's a dream. In one boat, I can employ about 10 people plus 6 foreigners. But the boat which I'm looking forward for, so if I can take the majority of the local people, so I don't have to bring any other foreigners to come and run the boat. So I'm looking to this business because this is the practical job. These are the foreign boats are from Korea, the Taiwanese, the Chinese, who come and do business in Fiji, catching fish. And they're taking about, say, 70 to 80 maybe, 80% to 70% of the revenues. So, what are these Fijian costs? That's a question. What is Fijian cost? The Fijian cost is that they're abusing the property of the indigenous Fijians. So we should improve some of the laws of fishing right in Fiji. We have to lock some of our resources, like in logging. You do logging, the royalties and the goodwills comes into NLTB. NLTB divide the money, two keys, and give the rest to the owner of the land. Same thing to apply on the fishing rights. So we have to change the constitution, the whole constitution, change it out. Get in the last constitution so we can, because, okay, say in India, you can elect one Fijian PM in India. You can do it? No, you can't. You can't. You have to have an Indian Prime Minister. Because we have to have a Fijian Prime Minister because he knows our protocol and he knows our need.
बुनियासी इलाका के है और हमारी ज़मीन के भी बाय लोग पकड़ ली नहीं। उन्हें बताया कि हम लोग ज़मीन मांगता हम लोग कमाएगा, ये बात वो बताया। तो मैंने बताया लीज हमें दे दो, उन्हें बताया कि हम नहीं देगा। बोला अच्छा रहा है, तो वहाँ से निकल जाएंगे। तो हम निकल गया वहाँ से। और ऐसे कई इलाका में ज़मीन इलाका सब पकड़ ले आगे कभी थी बाय लोग। किसान के बहुत तकलीफ़ है, लीज के समस्या बहुत भारी है और कई जगह देरी कर दे घर बार भी पकड़ ले हुए। और ये लोग सबसे भारी फिजी में यही समस्या है लीज कि किसान के लीज नहीं है, किसान के गन्ना खेती है नहीं, किसान नौकरी करके अपन रोजगारी चलाता है। हम काटता रहा 500 टन गन्ना, 600 टन गन्ना काटता रहा। एक किसान हम भी है, एक ट्रैक्टर ड्राइवर भी हम भी। जब हम ट्रैक्टर चलाते हैं तो हम लोग के हिंदुस्तानी बाई के खेत जोतते हैं, गन्ना खींचते हैं। कभी ती बाई लोग में हमारे पास नहीं आते हैं। अगर कभी ती बाई भी आए वो की नौकरी कर देगा ना।
You know, one of the saddest things about the 87 coup and the 2000 coup is that people from both races haven't learned any lessons. You know, I mean, while the reasons behind the coup was not necessarily because of the ethnic divide as such, it was one of the reasons given that, you know, that people basically don't get along together, they don't understand each other. Really, at the end of the day, it probably comes down to the fact that people in this country haven't learned to trust each other. Fijians don't trust Indians. They don't see Indian leadership as upholding their rights, and that if Indians came into power, they would take over the country. They would, I mean, those kind of reasons. There's all this insecurity. Whether it's true or not true is something one would have to sort of analyze to analyze.
The idea that someone like me, part everything, cannot belong is wrong. That Fiji can't be home, wrong. That part Europeans are dumb, wrong. That Fijians are lazy and can't run businesses, wrong. That Indians are money-faced, wrong. That Chinese are drug dealers who pee on their vegetables, wrong. That Ratumans are excess baggage, wrong. That only God can save Fiji, wrong. It is crucial that we all try to understand the situation. It is crucial that we understand that understanding is crucial to the situation. The situation is crucial. Almost as crucial to understanding that we must understand what the hell has gone wrong before we take sides.
It's an old story, and it's a long story where people staying in the mountains, they are not the real human beings. They are like devil. They come from the mountains, they come down to the sea, and they look for food and take all their food back to the mountain before the daylight. Not much people in Fiji still know the story. I think we don't have much books or story books, somebody who writes all these kinds of stories.